Hello, how are you today? I'm so glad to get to be able to spend some time here with you today. I appreciate you. I really, really do. I hope that you know how fun it is and how special it is for me to get to be able to spend time with you on the radio show, in workshops like we did this last weekend, or even just here on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, all of those fun places too. I really appreciate getting to spend time with you. Today, I want to talk about a saying that most of us, probably all of us, but for sure most of us, have kind of ingrained to us from since we were little kids, right? How many of you, like me, um, learned the phrase as a small child, even, do unto others as you would have done unto you? I'm going to move my camera just a little bit here. Don't let it freak you out too much. I just raised my seat, and so there we go. Now my eyes are in the top third of the portion where it's supposed to be. Yeah, have you ever heard that one? I'm sure you have. Do unto others as you would have them do to you, as you want them to do to you. And it's a great phrase to teach children to treat people nicely, to think of how would I want to be treated in that particular situation. Here's where it kind of goes careening off the road a little bit. We have that ingrained in us to the point where what we often end up finding ourselves doing is doing unto others as we want for them to do for us. But number one, we have an ideal for what we wish they would do for us versus what we're requesting or making clear that we want them to do for us, and even to some extent requiring that they do for us. Each of you listening has the right, the opportunity, and the ability to have the advantage of determining how you want to be treated as a person. And for the most part, really, there isn't a right or wrong answer to that. By the way, thank you to those of you that are joining live. Feel free to like or comment. I'd love to talk with you and interact with you in the comments here. Often, we don't even have a real standard that we put out into the world of how others should treat us. The furthest we go with do unto others as we want people to do for us is we place others above ourselves, right? All of the fingers pointing back at me. I'm not even pointing a finger at you and having, all of them pointing at me. And then we just really kind of never even go through a thought process of how should I be treated? What do I want to be treated as? What do I desire to be treated as? And I'm going to go really bold here for a second. What do I deserve to be treated as? How should I be treated? You're a person, you're very amazing, and you're incredibly special. And a lot of times, to hold a standard that is based in what is it based in? Right? I mean, do we ever question it? Do we ever question why do I treat others this way and respond back? It's because I'm doing unto others as I want them to do unto me, and then use that as a foundational standard for how other people should treat us as well. There are times when we blow it, okay? With all the acronyms and everything that has happened with the word grace, grace just really is the concept of I blew it and I'm going to blow it again. And I want you to be understanding of the fact that I'm not perfect and not have to hold me to absolutely every time you always get it right. You never have thoughts, feelings, or actions that you do that are anything but perfection. And because I know I'm going to do that, I love for you to apply grace to me in those times when I miss it and help me be able to see. I was proposing the concept Einstein used to call them thought experiments, and that's probably a good way of looking at how it was kind of going through my mind. What if couples didn't really fight? It seems foreign to my thought process. My parents did, my grandparents did. My grandparents had an interesting way of fighting because their fights were more silent. There just became a series. Well, and I'm talking about my mom's mom and dad. There became a series of things that they just didn't discuss. And it showed up the most in the fact that my grandfather was an extremely early riser. I'm talking like 3, maybe even earlier in the morning, 3:30. And because of that, he also was that, the early to bed, early to rise old statement. He was kind of that person. My grandmother, on the other hand, she was a night owl. Now, they have phrases that, call that an owl and a rooster, the kind of person that gets up early and is chirping, and the kind of person who stays up late singing. They loved each other, and I don't know of a time ever when they didn't, or when things were ever bad enough, but they had disagreements like that. And so for example, in that particular case, granddad went to bed as much as 4 hours before grandma did. And they've worked it out, and they didn't fight about it, but obviously there was a disagreement between when should bedtime be. I would guess that at some time way before I was even born, it may have even been a upset between them. But what if couples didn't have to? I don't know if it's possible, but what if we committed to talking? It's even as important, if not more so important, in friendships. All of us wants our friends to always be perfect, right? Because we don't want to be hurt. We don't want a friend to treat us anything other than absolutely perfectly wonderful all the time. But we also want them to give us very generous, liberal grace for the times that we just lose our mind and we just curse and swear and rant and rave and yell. And it may not even necessarily be at them, although that happens sometimes too. What if we could learn to talk? Often in friendships, we learn how to be able to do that. It'll be like, whoa, wait a minute. That was a lot of emotion, and I don't think I did anything. Did I do something to offend you? And they'll be like, oh, no, honey, it wasn't you. I'm sorry. I was just really caught up in the emotions that I'm dealing with right now. And then we can talk through it and help each other out. And I think a lot of times we do that better as friends than we do when we're in a relationship. But what if we could learn to really, truly talk? And I'm proposing this to you, not as somebody who does even what I would call well at this, but because it's a new aspiration for me. I mean, I love doing unto others as I would have them do to me. But what I realized, even today, I was driving back from grabbing my lunch, and I was kind of in a really good place, but also had kind of a sing-songy philosophical thing going on. And I was like, that's where this all came to me. I'm like, what does that really mean? I mean, do unto others as you'd have them do to you. And I think for the most part, I've always done a good job. I know I've blown it. And I hope I've said I'm sorry for every time that I have. And if not, if you happen to be on and I've blown it with you, I'm really sorry. I definitely, that was never my intention. But I think I'm a nice person. I think I really try and for the most part treat people well. But I've never taken it any further. I've never taken the other half of that phrase, the as you would have them do to you, and even thought through, well, how would I have them do to me? What do I want? What do I need? What would make me feel good? What kind of things do I want and need to be treated? How can a person who cares for me show that in their actions that say that to me? The book 5 Love Languages does a great job of talking about the concept of if for you acts of service, that's one of them, one of the 5 love languages. If for you acts of service doing things around that. That would be like house cleaning and things like that. Without being asked and not doing it begrudgingly, but just to show love. If that's your love language, and another one is like physical affection is another one. And if you're being huggy and lovey and kissy and all those kind of things, and your person's love language is the acts of service, they may literally, according to 5 love languages, and I think I've seen it play out pretty well, they may literally not feel loved because you're not saying I love you to them in the way that they need to have it said to them. And a lot of times, I know many of us who have read the book 5 Love Languages to, on purpose, find and work with our spouses to identify what is their love language so we can say I love you to them in their way. But I think in that one, a lot of times we either just kind of gloss over, oh yeah, my love language is, we don't really do the work on ourselves like we will to be able to show somebody that we really care for. And so we've never really identified that either. It's like, well, my love language is X. And then we just go on from there. And we never really put the litmus test to it to how do I feel when someone does an acts of service, a physical affection. I don't remember the other 5 right off the top of my head. They'll probably pop onto me. And if you're watching live right now and you want to comment what all of the 5 different love languages are, that'd be great. We can talk about them in more specifics. But, we don't do it. Like you said, going back to do unto others as we would have them do unto us, we don't ever really identify the as we would have them do unto us. I mean, I suppose there's a unthought element of I'm doing this because I'm doing unto others as I would have them do to me. But I think a lot of times it becomes a black hole. It can't even become. Do you guys know what a feedback loop is? So with a microphone and a speaker, if I had my microphone's right here, you can't quite see it, but if I had a speaker right here and the microphone was picking up my voice and then it was coming out of the speaker into the microphone, that sound would go around and around and around, and it creates a feedback loop. And some of you have probably heard that before. Because it's kind of that ringing sound and it can build and grow and get worse. And I think a lot of times that's kind of what the do unto others is that we'd have them do unto us is it just becomes a feedback loop. We think I would really like somebody to do this for me, but we never have really determined if this is something we really do want people to do for us, and even more so ever really expressed. This is what I'd really like them to do for me. And how are people supposed to know if we don't tell them? Steve, thanks for posting them. Yes, affirmations. So affirmations is affirming a person, it's usually things like, I really appreciate how you do XYZ. Showing appreciation is a good way of saying affirmation. Quality time, just purely putting in the time. Like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. My mom, one of the ways I can show my mom on a daily basis that I love her is to play several rounds of Scrabble with her. When she was here, what she wanted more than anything else was just us to be together. And it wasn't that she demanded I didn't work or that she felt bad. She just liked it if when I was cooking or when she was cooking, if we could just be in the same space. Now, I don't know if my mom's ever done all the rest of the work to say definitively quality time is her love language, but that's a great example of that. Physical touch, that's what we were talking about before, is actually the skin on skin contact. And there are some people who they need that actual physical touch in order to really truly feel loved. There are other people that I know that actually they're a little bit adverse to physical touch. It's something they do for the other person more than they really want for themselves. acts of service. That's again, like I was talking about, doing the dishes, vacuuming the floor, taking out the garbage, just doing it as a way of saying I love you, not because they asked you, not because it's a chore, but just because, hey, I really love you. And I know that when you come home and you see that sink full of dishes is gone and the kitchen is clean, it really lets you know, hey, I really love you. And then receiving gifts, and that's literally gifts. You go and you buy a person a necklace. Like, can you believe that they bought me? And I think most of us like getting gifts, but for some people, it's that's really the way that they then really feel love. There are people I know who are real, really bad at getting gifts. I know several people that at Christmas, really they would pretty genuinely say, all I really want for Christmas is your time. All I'd really like to do for Christmas is play Monopoly as a family, sit around the table and have a dinner together. And that for them, that would be the gift of all gifts for Christmas or their birthday or Mother's Day or those kind of things. You can really show them you love them just simply by saying, I want to give you my time being in your presence. I mean, for people who it's quality time, even just a phone call can mean so much to them. And sometimes, I'm hoping that we've learned it a little bit through COVID. Sometimes the best thing we can do for people is just pick up the phone and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I just want to see how you're doing. Sometimes that more than anything else can let somebody know that you really love them. So affirmations, saying nice things, affirming a quality, saying, hey, you really did a good job with people. Quality time, actually just spending the time. Physical touch, skin on skin contact. Acts of service, doing things, to be of service to that person. And then gifts, giving the person a gift. And it's important that we know those things. And I think between these two, between the do unto others as you would have them do to you and the 5 love languages, I think it's important for all of us to do the other side of that work. Absolutely, I'm not saying stop doing unto others. No. I'm saying let's really, my mom says phone calls are always welcome. See, I told you my mom, she can feel loved with quality time. She likes my time. And that's okay. That's good. It's a way I can show her I love her. We need to do the other side of the work, though. We really do. We need to flip the script and really dig into not just I'm doing this as I want to be treated, but really, how do I want to be treated? That's why I like that 5 love languages thing is because, if we are doing quality time with somebody because we've taken the time to know that time makes them feel loved. And so therefore, we give up our time to allow other people to say love to us. For those of us who quality time may not be our love language, we may feel drained from that situation rather than loved. And not even know why, because we've never done the work when we go through do unto others as you would have them do unto you, to know how you would have them do unto you. How do you want to be treated? What would be your perfect day? What makes your heart smile? What makes you feel happy, safe, warm, and loved? What are the kind of things that just sends you off skipping and singing, happy as a little clam because of what happened? How do you then express to the people in your life that mean so much to you what that thing is, so they can love you too, because they want to. I mean, sure, there's people that treat us badly. We're not talking about people who aren't even doing unto others as they want done to them. You know, we're not talking about the people who are take from others the things that you want. Okay. We're talking about the people who genuinely want to do for you. And they may be doing for you based on a guess because they haven't done the other side of that work to even know what they would like done for themselves. A lot of us are guilty of that. I know I am. Maybe some of you are too. That's why it's so important for us to spend just a little time and determine what really makes you feel loved. What makes you feel like the person did for you. Do we know? I hope you know. And if you do, feel free to comment and say, I really feel loved when somebody, like my mom said, phone calls are always welcome. Makes her feel good. She even put 3 exclamation marks behind it because it feels really good for her. And when she feels like she's hearing in a text I send her that I'm feeling down and stuff, it's very likely that she's going to pick up the phone and call me because she knows how much it means to her. That's doing unto others as you would have done unto you. Because, and now if we take it the next step and we begin to express to those people that means stuff to us and that we want that deeper relationship with, to say, I've really spent some time on this. What I've discovered is I really like it when someone does, when you do. I like having XYZ happen for me. It's a very vulnerable thing. And it's next level relationship stuff to be close enough to be able to say, I really like it when you do this, and I really don't like it when you do this. And for the other person to be solid enough in the relationship for them to receive that, possibly even, going next level, reflect back. What I hear you saying is that you really like it when I do this, and you really don't like it when I do that. How can I do more of the thing you like? And how can I do less of the thing you don't like? Now, I feel like we just dove deeply into a therapy session, and I don't know that that was my intention. I just wanted to share my thought with you. But I want to leave you with a brain teaser, I guess. How do you want other people to do to you, to do unto you, to treat you, to show you they love you? What is your love language? What does love feel like for you? Decide that, find that up, spend the time really truly discovering that. And then step 2, let the people in your life know that. And then, and here's the super advanced step, step 3, share that with the world. That's what I do, right? I help people write books. And I would be remiss if I didn't invite you to go to AskSteveKidd.com. Want me to type it for you so you know exactly where it is if you want to? AskSteveKidd.com. Schedule a time to talk to me about how you can share your message with the world. I would love to. It is part of one of my love languages I'm discovering, is when people genuinely want my help with their making a difference in the world. And then I get to be able to show up in their life and encourage them. You got this. You can do it. I believe. I believe in you so much. I hope you know how incredibly awesome you are, how amazing you are, what an important big deal you are in the world. Absolutely you are. On behalf of the whole of the universe, I want to thank you. If nobody's ever told you, or if you hear it every minute of your life, thank you for being you. Thank you for giving me your time to listen to this today. Thank you for allowing yourself to do the work so that those of us that love and care for you can show you in a way that means and is meaningful to you that we love and care for you. As I said before, I hope you are happy, safe, warm, and loved. That you are surrounded by people who challenge you in a good way and who help you fly. That you are sharing your message with the world and that you're maximizing just simply while it's called today. Until we're together again next time, whether it's on the radio show or the next Facebook Live I do or in one of my events or any of those kind of things, I hope that you will have a really amazing and great week.